Welcome to Enter VR, the podcast where we talk about all things virtual reality. I am your host, Chris Miranda, and on today's show I have Wormslayer, the moderator of one of the moderators of the Oculus subreddit, and one of the moderators of one of my favorite newly discovered subreddits, the VR Master Race subreddit. Thank you for coming on the show, Wormslayer. It's really an honor to finally meet you and have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Cool. So today has been a crazy fucking day. I'm in shock. I don't know how do you feel about this Facebook Oculus accusation?
Well, I mean, you say a crazy day. It literally broke less than an hour ago, so I'm still pretty much in shock myself. It was unexpected, to say the least.
What do you think this means for the virtual reality community? Let's start with that. What do you think this means for the virtual reality community?
Well, I suppose in the short term, it's probably going to be good for Oculus. I mean, they now have a metric ton of cash to go and wave at hardware manufacturers. But I don't know, in the long term, it's hard not to have nightmare visions of VR Farmville and microtransactions and NSA backdoors and who knows what. Yeah,
this has been a news that just completely, I could have never seen coming, especially, why?
Well, there was one guy a month ago who posted that his friend had seen Mark Zuckerberg in the Oculus building and nobody believed him. So some people saw it coming.
Man, but even if you saw Mark Zuckerberg in the Oculus building, you figured, he's just trying on the. I feel like I saw that post, and I felt like I sort of just brushed it away. I remember and thinking, what could Mark Zuckerberg actually want? Would VR be up his alley?
Yeah. And I must admit, I kind of dismissed it as well. I assumed if he was there for real, then he was just checking it out, not stumping up $2 billion and buying the thing.
$2 billion? Is Oculus worth $2 billion?
Facebook have paid a hell of a lot more for things that I consider to be completely irrelevant and frivolous, so,
it just feels like, of all the things, $2 billion, it just feels like it's not, especially for this technology, especially for being the leading edge company in this, it just feels like $2 billion, really? That's it? It just, I don't know.
Yeah, it does kind of seem cheap to me. I expected it would have been more if they were going to sell out, but I don't know, did they actually sell out? Isn't it some kind of partnership or something?
Yeah, it sounds like it's more of an acquisition, which means that, this is where the line gets drawn, right? It's a different, it's a different form of relationship, partnership versus acquisition. In my understanding, if it's an acquisition, that means Zuckerberg controls controls the reins of Oculus. Am I correct in this?
I guess, like I said, I'm not sure what the exact arrangement they've made is, but it's kind of weird thinking that people like John Carmack now work for Facebook.
Yeah, holy shit. I'm in total shock, man. I don't know how to
Yeah, it's one of those bizarro universe Spock with a beard kind of moments, isn't it?
It is. For you personally, what did you feel like VR was? What direction did you feel like virtual reality was headed before this happened?
I don't know. What direction? How do you mean?
It's just before this whole Facebook thing had happened. Did you have a vision of the future for virtual reality?
Well, I have been sort of revising my expectations. It wasn't that long ago that Palmer was pretty much a nobody, and we were talking about, wouldn't it be great if he could sell a couple of hundred units and make a Kickstarter worthwhile? And now we're talking about $2 billion buyouts from Facebook.
You were so I take it you were right at the beginning. You were one of the Kickstarter backers. I mean, when did you first learn about Oculus and Palmer?
Well, I've lurked on the MTBS 3D forums for a few years now, and I was aware of Palmer's experiments that he was posting about there, and then suddenly John Carmack got in the mix and started waving it around at E3, and the rest is history.
Yeah, this has been intense. The Reddit is just
Reddit is exploding.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to deal with the moderation queue in another window now while we're talking, and it's insane.
Do you think? There's so many questions, and I just feel like, what is the general consensus in your opinion in terms of what the Reddit forums are thinking?
Well, everybody seems incredibly shocked, and I don't know, a lot of people seem quite upset about it. Let's face it, Facebook doesn't have a particularly good reputation amongst the more sort of technically literate types, and there's a lot. I mean, Palmer's post where he's explaining what's going on has got, twice as many downvotes as upvotes. I've had to sticky it to keep it on the front page, which I never thought I would see.
Wow, this is insane. This is crazy.
I know, right?
I mean, I just discovered my new favorite subreddit, the VR Master Race subreddit, and I remember seeing posts saying, I swear, I just saw a post where what is Gaben is the god, right? Is the demigod of the VR Master Race. But then you have Palmer, and people were asking, what is Palmer in conjunction to Gaben? And people were saying, well, he's the Messiah. He's a Messiah or a disciple.
Yeah, it's like the Holy Trinity of Gaben, Palmer, and Carmack or something.
What is this? So what? I mean, how is this subreddit going to handle it now?
I have no idea. We'll have to see. I mean, the landscape has changed quite a lot in the last hour or two, so we'll have to see how everything pans out, I guess. Yeah.
This is what a day. This is historic, I think. I mean, if there was one of those days where this is where we plant a flag, I mean, this is one of those days, I think.
Yeah, it's certainly a big milestone in the whole story of Oculus, that's for sure.
Objectively speaking, let me try to step back and play the devil's advocate and see if I can play the devil's advocate. Why is Facebook such a bad entity for the technologically literate minded?
Well, I mean, they have a reputation for being, the lowest common denominator, trying to milk people for information and money, and there's the whole NSA connection as well, which is a bit sinister and nefarious.
Yeah, it's I mean, even amongst the not very technologically literate minded, the whole NSA affair, and their targeted their ads and their privacy. I mean, it's just it's a clusterfuck.
I guess it's partly, I come from the age when the idea of giving out your personal information on the internet was insanity, And now, if you don't have everything about your life being live blogged 24/7, you're some sort of weird Unabomber recluse type.
Which is sad. Super sad.
Yeah, I guess. Yep. Sign of the changing times, eh?
These times that are impending, that are coming. I mean, let's try to figure out, what do you think is the best case scenario for Oculus and VR at this point? Is there anything?
Well, I mean, I guess it all depends on what sort of deal they've got here. If they're now just a wholly owned subsidiary of Facebook, then, the future is whatever the bean counters Facebook decide it's going to be.
Yeah. And then what is the worst case scenario for the future of virtual reality going forward?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not so much the future of virtual reality that's at stake here. I mean, Oculus could implode and somebody else would pick it up and run with it,
Yeah.
I think it's more, the implications for Oculus as a company and the community around it rather than VR in general, because that can only really benefit from having the exposure of Facebook money and presence and so on.
Is there
Same with the Sony Morpheus thing, that even if they do compete with Oculus, it's still a good thing to have, VR being more of a mainstream thing.
Is there anything Oculus can do to save their reputation in the eyes of their community now?
I don't know. I mean, the pitchfork sharpening and torch waving that's going on at the moment is a bit of a knee-jerk reaction. I guess we'll have to wait a few days for everybody to calm down and see how much of a difference this really makes.
Yeah. It just feels like that post by Palmer didn't feel like it was written by Palmer. It feels like it was written by...
I know what you mean. Normally Palmer comes in and he shoots from the hip and, tells us what's going on, but that just kind of seemed like a copy-pasted PR announcement.
Mm-hmm. I remember seeing someone on Reddit saying, Sony was offering a job to Palmer, and Brendan, advised Palmer to not take that job because Palmer then wouldn't be able to speak freely about virtual reality and be himself. This is exact. I mean, if there was, this is worse, right? Because then Sony giving Palmer a job. Now it's on a larger scale even.
Yeah, I think if I had to pick, I would have chosen for him to go and work with Sony rather than Facebook. But what do I know?
Yeah. What does Facebook?
Have you seen the Sony CEO's Twitter feed?
No,
I'll just paste a link to you there.
I'm checking it out right now as we speak, and
they seem to think it's pretty funny.
Yeah. Oh man. What is so where does Sony stand in all this now that this has happened? Where is?
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it necessarily affects them, except it means VR has a wider kind of public mind share, which can only be good for anybody who's selling VR. Yeah.
I had this idea that I think will never see fruition anymore. And I bring this up because I've been seeing on some threads that people were someone was saying I had 11 friends that had projects all working in parallel to VR experiences that pulled them immediately now that this has happened, and Notch himself pulled Minecraft from going into with Oculus. Are we going to see an exodus that won't be able to come back to Oculus? Is Sony going to benefit from this? What do you think?
I don't know. Obviously Notch just posted saying that he's out and he wants nothing to do with Oculus if they're in bed with Facebook. So, not that he was actually doing anything really anyway. He said he was maybe going to port Minecraft to it, but, that ship sailed. Some fans already did that many months ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think in the short term it's going to be great for Oculus. They've got the money now. They've got the extra publicity. The subreddit is going nuts now. We've got even more traffic than we did on DK2 and Morpheus announcement day at GDC.
Yeah, the front page of Reddit is the number 2 post is this Facebook acquisition, and that's that's big. That's when you make it to the front page and you're number 1, number 2, number 3. I mean, that's big news. That's fuck. What does this mean for indie developers? If you're an indie developer right now and you have your Oculus Rift experience out there, I mean, could this mean that Oculus will have more money to throw at you, maybe, or will this mean that you are now being shunned for bigger studios, bigger development, bigger budgets? What is this?
Well, again, in the short term, it means Oculus now have an even bigger war chest to splash out on, paying big developers to make first-party games for their platform and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Are there going to be strings attached to that? Are you going to have to use Facebook login for it or something? I don't know.
Yeah. For you personally, if you were developing a game for the Rift, and let's say Oculus comes up to you and says, "We're going to give you what, $2 million, because that's chump change for them right now." But I mean, that's just for you. And so would you take the money and add the Facebook likes and all the nonsense, or would you, stick with it?
Well, I don't know. I'm probably not a good example here. I'm broke and unemployed. So if somebody offered me a $2 million contract to make some bogus Facebook game, I'd probably do it, even if I considered it to be, selling out or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I guess Oculus will have lost some of their sort of indie cred with this step, but do they really care? They've got a big pile of money and they're going to the moon, as it were.
I wonder what this means for censorship. Will Facebook? I mean, it's just, there's so much up in the air right now, but I wonder if Facebook is going to censor certain types of experiences. For example, I want... Well, yeah, go ahead.
That's one of the interesting questions is, are there going to be restrictions on it? Because, up until now, they've been sort of positioning it as more of a hardware peripheral, like a monitor, where, anybody can display anything they want on a monitor. Mm-hmm. But now, is it going to be more tied in with an online service where they, vet and approve content and have a walled garden kind of environment? Yeah. Again, I don't know. I'm just speculating here, but that could be bogus for small developers, or even just free-minded individuals who don't agree with the terms and conditions.
Man, what a day! Do you? Now that I try to put myself in Palmer's shoes, and to be frank, and being a 20-year-old kid, coming up out of nothing, and then all of a sudden having $2 billion shoved in my face, that's a hard thing to pass up. But at the same time, it's just...
He was asked a couple of times in interviews over the last couple of years, would you sell out for a big pile of money? And
I remember.
Again, you'd have to be stupid not to sell out if the price was high enough, I guess. It's like...
Yeah.
I mean, again, did they really sell out, or is it some sort of, equal partnership here, and in future they might decide that, they want out and they detach themselves from their Facebook association? I don't know.
That is a small possibility, right? That, they could, because, if anything, what this is going to do is just going to catapult this VR technology, faster and bigger to the masses than ever before.
It seems to be all the internet's talking about at the moment.
Holy shit! Are we walking right into the Matrix? This is insane.
Well, I don't know. You could imagine Facebook wanting to have some sort of PlayStation home-esque VR kind of thing where everybody does their shopping and plays their games and does their social interaction through Facebook VR.
I think this has been the most disruptive and will be the most disruptive year for gaming. Period. The VR is such a compelling experience, and man, Facebook wanting to jump in this game now. How is Nintendo and Microsoft. I mean, Sony's is in the game, but how are the other guys going to react to this?
Who knows? I mean, Microsoft, if their past history is anything to go by, they can't stand to see a market with profit that they're not part of, so I'm sure they'll jump in sooner or later.
Yeah.
Nintendo, I don't know, who knows what they're doing, man.
Yeah. Man, I'm in shock. I don't know how to...
Yeah, shock is definitely the key word of the day, I think, for most people.
Man, yeah, because I feel like I dropped out of grad school. I quit my job. I went all out for this because I believed that this was going to be the new medium to tell the truth, to show people that this technology, that we could use technology to enhance our reality. And this Facebook accusation brings so many questions to my mind. I wanted to show people what it would be like to be an inmate inside Guantanamo Bay as you're being force-fed from a VR perspective, from their perspective. I wanted to show people what it'd be like to be an African child soldier, or a woman or a young girl being having your clitoris being mutilated. Because these are experiences that others have, and they're happening, and they don't have the lawyers and lobbies to get your attention. So I figured this VR technology could show us the truth.
Well, again, we have to differentiate here between Oculus VR, the company, and virtual reality, the platform stroke, media stroke, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing stopping other companies from making VR headsets, and again, we haven't heard of any kind of restrictions that are going to be placed on using these ones. So, I think it's a bit early to be panicking and bailing out or anything. But yeah, it's just weird. I still have trouble getting my head around it.
Me too. I'm in total shock. I mean, now that you mentioned what do you think Valve is going to do? Do you think Valve being such a key partner with Oculus, and Valve being the company that they are, I wonder if they're seeing this as a positive thing. I wonder if they're going to react by putting out their own system. I don't know what...
Well, I mean, Valve already have the whole Steam social networking thing, so they're kind of in competition with Facebook in that area, I guess.
Yeah. But there's no way to tell what is going to happen next now. I guess it's just a wait and see. What do you think is going to happen to...
Like I said, in the short term, I think it's going to be great for Oculus, They can, take that big pile of cash and now go to screen manufacturers and going, hey, we want you to, make some custom hardware for us. Here's the money to do that. Long term, who knows?
Are you going to buy an Oculus Rift consumer version model number 1?
That's still the plan, yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, like I said, I'm broke at the moment, but yeah. My plan is still to grab a DK2 and a consumer one as soon as possible.
At what point do you think? What sort of things do you think would break? Would be a breaking or a break point for you, like a no deal for you? Would it be all of a sudden Facebook likes are integrated? Someone was saying on the subreddit. I mean, this feels dystopian. But it's not far-fetched considering the government that we have in this current social context. We're going to have a world where, the government will know exactly what you're looking at, through VR.
Yeah, well, it seems like that's becoming a reality, and there doesn't seem to be much that anybody can really do about it. So I guess that will happen. Certainly in the Western internet-obsessed parts of the world.
Yeah. What a day. What a day. Holy shit.
Crazy day.
Yeah, indeed. Wormslayer, I don't know if you have anything else to add. I figured this conversation could be a bit short and to the point. But yeah, do you have any final thoughts, any closing comments into what just happened?
No, not really. Just that I should get back to Reddit and try and moderate some of these thousands of insane posts about how Palmer's turned to the dark side and betrayed us all and blah, blah, blah.
You were the chosen one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's trending pretty heavily at the moment, that quote.
Holy shit. Yeah. Well, there's no reason to jump the ship yet. I mean, if there, as you personally, as a moderator and someone who's been in the forums and in the community so involved, I mean, is there a message you would like to send to the community yourself? Something?
Take a chill pill.
Okay. All right. I like that. Thank you. Thanks so much for your objective and well-grounded insights. So before we finally close, can you give me the stat on how much traffic you're getting on the subreddit right now?
Yeah, we're currently getting about 8 times the average traffic we did on GDC announcement day when the Morpheus and DK2 announcements were being live blogged.
Jesus, that's crazy.
It's pretty nuts.
There's man. Well, all right. Well, I'll let you get back to moderating. Good luck out there fighting the good fight. You are a true scholar and gentleman of virtual reality, good sir.
All right, man. I'll see you in the Matrix.
Yeah. I'll see you there.